Hello everyone, I'm Federico from the Jevero team and welcome to the series of tutorials in which we are going to cover some more advanced techniques that we apply in Jevero and Rhino to produce shoe models. Jevero is a plugin for Rhinoceros 6 and 7 and it will help you create shoe models ready for production in a very quick and convenient way. Plus, it it also it also has all the Rhino features that are very convenient. Running being a plugin, it runs many convenient features that Rhino has that will help you implement the workflows and make them better and easier and hopefully funnier, more enjoyable. So, what I wanted to cover today is a margin debate that was that rose between pattern engineers and people giving me feedback for the software, which is the need of having fixed margins with just a button, opposed to the way that Jevero works now, which remembers the very last input that you say is the value of the margin. So in a very quick way, if I run the margin command right here, it will be at 10. I say OK. Then I want to run a new one and say it's 7 and confirm. Now the new one, oops, the new one again, just remember the last one you used. It is a simple way, but some of the pattern engineers to which I speak with all the time, they say, I want to be able to have a button that has a specific value, let's say 7 or 9, and perhaps a specific color or a specific line style, or I want to place it in a specific layer because I want it to be there, and it's much more convenient for me. So what I came up with is just a macro. So a macro is a combination of actions or commands that will perform more than one in one sweep and will let you perform more actions and speed up the workflow in a very efficient way. So I will grab one that I did just before this. So let's see. I have this little toolbar and I have a 5mm and 10mm padding button that will let you place two margins that are 5 and 10mm and are blue and red. So let's run it. Oop. Blue margin and red margin. Here it is. Not only they are in this different color, different style, but they are also in this layer called padding over here. So I created this layer. It has standard features, but yeah, we will keep it like this. And right now we're going to look at what we need to do in order to have this result. So let me check. Okay, everything is working. I've been recording this one time and I forgot my microphone was off, and now I'm re-recording this. So I was just double checking on that. So to do this, we need a couple of instruments and some knowledge about how Rhino works. So the first thing we need to do is to run the macro editor. So macro editor, I will just type it and run it in the command bar. And this will let you run commands and put them on a chain in which the space determines the confirmation. And it will let you run a chain of commands, for example, more than one, or like run properties and stuff like that. And just with one click, you can perform more operations at once. So let's isolate these two lines, maybe just one, actually. So when we create a margin, we run it like this, and that's okay. One thing that we need to know in order to expand our knowledge on this is that we can run scripted commands. And scripted commands are those that you can run through the command bar. So you can see that this is the name of my command, margin create, with the thing here, the underscore, to reset the language. But if I put a dash before the underscore, dash underscore j underscore margin create, I will run a command only through the command bar. So we'll say offset 5, enter. Flip, you can leave it like that. I hit enter and I create a 5 margin. So now I need to grab all the inputs that I gave, so the things that are after the column, and paste them over here. So margin create, space, offset, underscore to reset the language, offset 5, and then underscore enter. And you see that this input will let you create a margin that is 5. So let's try to run it. You see that I run. Oh, I made a mistake. But this is useful to show, of course, it was a mistake, but it's useful to show that something happened here, but it didn't generate my thing. That's because when the command asks me to select the curve, I input offset. And in order to avoid this, I need to pause. So we'll type pause here with a space. And the pause instruction is very useful because it lets you wait for an input by the user, and then we'll keep with using keep running the commands that you give it. So let's do it again. Select the play button. You see that it pauses, so it asks me to select the curve, and then selects the offset 5, enter, and it generates the thing. So once I do it, you see it's selected, it's highlighted. So what we can do is run a second command, which is the properties, but scripted. So you see that whenever you click on a curve, you have some properties: name, layer, display color, line type, and whatever. It's controlled from here, but if we run properties with the script, so with the dash, it will run through the command bar up here. Okay, and now I can say a name and call it padding 5. Oh, I should not place a space on the name. Layer, padding, enter. Color. Here you need to give it some RGB instructions. So it's very straightforward. You see from the color picker, you have values from 0 to 255 of red, green, and blue. So all the top values give white, all zeros give black, and I want it blue. So I'm going to 0 red, 0 green, and 255 blue. And the last zero, if you notice, there's four of them. It's the transparency. I will just leave it at 255 or zero, and it will stay like that. So I'm going to close it. I'm going to rerun everything. So properties, object, name, padding 5. I'm going to type it again so then I can copy and paste later. Padding. Make sure the spelling and the spaces are good because I want this here. Even the layers with two words are iffy, so you need to pay attention to that. I want a different color, and here I would say object. You could even say layer like that, so it follows the layer color, and just hit enter and enter. I don't care. So now what we need to do is copy and paste this stuff over here. If the thing that's generated was not selected already, I would have to say cell last. This will generate will select the last thing that was created. So we'll run the properties. I will run object name. Oop, padding. No, padding 5, sorry. Layer, just way off. Layer, padding, color, object. I will give it the blue, so it's 0, 0, 255, 0. Enter, and two times enter, because I confirm two things. And then I need to put the underscores over here so it resets the language for everybody to use, even if you have Rhino that is not set in English. So let's try this. Yeah. So let's review what it does. Creates a margin, pauses to let you select the line. It selects the option offset. It gives it, oops, the offset. It confirms, and then with the since the object is already selected, I can run properties. It runs the option object, and it changes the value. So the name will change to padding 5, which symbolizes the offset. Is just for my reference. And why do I care about saying padding 5? Because if I have two lines, okay, what happened here? You see, well, you see that this will let you spot which one you want to select. So that's why. But this is actually a good thing. Okay, no, I changed something here. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, something happened here, but I'm not sure what. Anyways, Yeah, it works both ways. But yeah, so what happens is, excuse me for that. It runs the properties, it runs name, changes the layer, make sure the layer corresponds to an actual layer in your model, color, object, give it blue, and confirm 2 times to and enter. All right, now I want to take this and oh, and it changes the name. So let me show you that here it has blue, it has padding in the layer, and the name over here is changed. So let's hide this. And let's put this on a button. So what I can do is right click over here, unlock the windows and the toolbars, say new tab. I'm going to move it over here so it's more convenient, and lock. So now I will run the properties and call it test padding, whatever it is, test padding, and edit the bitmap. And this is the funniest part for me. I will just run it like this. Oop, let's make them straight so they are parallel and they make sense in my icon, and I'm good. So you see that you have your thing here, your icon, the name, a test button, and then I will right click and say new button. And with this, I will copy this command over here. So let's do that. Copy, new button, paste that, and call it padding 5 millimeters, padding 5 millimeters. And you could even say something else over here for 5 millimeters. And I will fill this with blue, like I did in the beginning example. I'll fill it with blue, and with this I will run so 5. Let's do some pixel art here. 5. Oops. Just let me have some fun. Oh, that's good. Um, and it's 5 millimeters, so it's very precise and cool here. And you have your button over here. You can take this out, okay, and we can run it, and it creates the thing in the layer padding with the blue color and the correct name and stuff. So what we can do next is, okay, I want the 5, I want the 7, I want the 10. So you can create copies. First off, control and drag, let you copy. And then I'm going to hit shift and right click, and I'll go into the editing mode. So here I can simply, by paying attention to the spaces and stuff, I will change the names, the values. So I will not say this is 255, but I'm going to say it's 150. So it's, I don't know what color that is. Maybe let's make it simpler and do red. Okay. 255 on the red, which is the first value. And then what value we put? 7. I will, what was 150? So it's a darker blue, makes sense. Um, I will fill this with and this as well, and say with the Wow, that's better than I expected. And this changes and it goes like that. It's pretty simple. Let's close this one. I'm going to shift right click and edit this again. So I will say 10. I will call it padding 10, 10, and make it green. So it only makes sense that this is the thing. And then I will change that to green. Okay, fill it. No, that's pretty bright, but I don't care at the moment. So let's do, no, no, but you get the idea. Yeah, I want to be a pixel artist someday. Um, Come on, that's not how you begin to be a pixel artist. So we have the 10, and there we go. And we have the three basic colors, and with the nice icons. Just it's very quick. You can see I made them on the spot, and it's very clear. And 5, 7, 10, and you can run the Jevero commands and just add these to your arsenal to be very quick and create them all like that. You can see all the stuff. It's still parametric, meaning it's made with Jevero and interacts perfectly with Rhino. And yeah, that's that. Um, there are other ways you can put some automatic margins, which, for an example, could be the border template. So if you create a border template with a 5 and move boundary to margin and place it in a category, let's call it margin, and I call it let's say 5 mm margin, CM allowance, for example. Okay, let's say you want to apply a seam allowance. Let's grab the parts. I will grab this part, for example. I have my construction lines, and I want to apply, this is not a perfect example, perhaps this is good. I want to apply a seam allowance over here. So I will double click on it. The border template panel will lock everything and just keep the boundaries, the cutting boundaries, and will ask you for a side where to put the margin. Just say external, and bam, you have the margin and the boundary moved to the margin. This is more specific, and the one that I just showed before is a more advanced technique that you can use to make it more and more customizable. So some final remarks. This is just an example, one example of the many things you can do with Rhino and Jevero combined to improve your workflow. So for example, this works, I showed with margins, but it does work with markers, stabs, and many other commands that you can automate and do wonders with. So I encourage you to just experiment in this sense, use the macro editor, learn how to work with the command bar in a smart way, and you can run and use all sorts of commands and have fun with it. So thank you very much for your attention, and I'll see you in a new tutorial, hopefully very soon. And if you have any questions or comments, please comment or shoot us an email to the info info at jeveropattern.com, and we're always happy to respond or even just leave a comment. Thank you very much, and until next time.